Beyond words, the mutual respect and admiration between Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson. In the world of cinema where lights are bright and attention is relentless, genuine connections often become blurred by scripts, marketing campaigns, and public speculation, yet sometimes, beneath the layers of performance and publicity, there exists something quieter, something that does not demand headlines or grand declarations. The relationship between Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson is one such connection. It is not defined by rumor or spectacle, but by a steady, unspoken understanding that grew over time, shaped by shared challenges and mutual trust. Their bond exists in the spaces between words, in the calm glances exchanged before a scene, in the respectful silence that follows an emotionally demanding take, and in the subtle assurance that each could rely on the other without question. From the very beginning of their collaboration, both actors stepped into a storm of expectations. The roles they portrayed required vulnerability, emotional endurance, and an ability to separate personal identity from fictional intimacy. It was not merely acting. It was immersion into characters whose emotions were intense, complex, and often misunderstood. Under such pressure, it would have been easy for tension or discomfort to grow between co-stars. Instead, what emerged was a professional harmony grounded in empathy. They did not need to constantly verbalize reassurance because their respect for one another was evident in the way they listened, the way they adapted, and the way they protected each other as comfort on set. There is a certain language that artists develop when they work closely together, a language made not of sentences but of timing, eye contact, and rhythm. Jamie and Dakota appeared to find that language early. In interviews, their words were often lighthearted or humorous, but beneath the jokes lay a steady acknowledgement of each other as dedication. They spoke not with exaggerated praise, but with sincerity. Their compliments felt measured, never rehearsed, as if they understood that authenticity carried more weight than elaborate declarations. It was this restraint that made their admiration believable. It was admiration expressed not to impress an audience, but to recognize effort, discipline, and courage. On set, the dynamic between them seemed to revolve around balance. When one carried the emotional weight of a scene, the other offered stability. When tension filled the atmosphere, humor quietly dissolved it. This equilibrium was not accidental. It was cultivated through patience and attentiveness. Acting often requires surrender, allowing oneself to be seen in raw, imperfect states. To do this repeatedly in front of cameras demands immense trust in one's co-star. Trust that boundaries will be respected, trust that vulnerability will not be exploited, trust that the shared illusion of storytelling will never cross into personal intrusion. The fact that both actors could perform such emotionally charged scenes with consistency suggests that this trust was deeply rooted. Beyond the scripted dialogue, their connection manifested in small, almost invisible gestures: a brief nod before filming began, a reassuring smile after a demanding sequence, a shared laugh between takes that reset the emotional atmosphere. These moments rarely appeared in promotional material, yet they formed the foundation of their collaboration. They were reminders that beneath the characters existed two individuals navigating the same professional terrain, each aware of the other's emotional limits and strengths. In a profession where egos can easily clash, their partnership felt notably free of rivalry. There was no visible competition for attention or dominance, only a shared objective to deliver a performance worthy of the story they were entrusted to tell. Mutual respect is often misunderstood as something loud or ceremonial, but in reality it is frequently quiet. It lives in consistency rather than intensity. Jamie and Dakota's respect for each other appeared to be built on this quiet consistency. They showed up prepared, they honored schedules, they engaged with directors and crew members professionally. And perhaps most importantly, they acknowledged the emotional toll of their work without dismissing it. In doing so, they created a space where collaboration felt safe rather than strained. Safety in creative environments is invaluable. It allows authenticity to flourish. Their professional bond also seemed to thrive on individuality. Neither tried to overshadow the other, nor did they attempt to merge identities for the sake of public perception. Each maintained a distinct artistic voice. This independence strengthened rather than weakened their connection. When two performers respect each other's autonomy, admiration becomes more genuine. It is no longer based on similarity, but on appreciation of difference. Jamie's introspective calm contrasted with Dakota's composed wit, and this contrast added depth to their interactions. It was not harmony born of sameness, but harmony born of acceptance. Public curiosity often seeks dramatic narratives. Friendships turned rivalries, collaborations turned romances, partnerships turned conflicts. Yet the truth is often more understated and far more meaningful. The enduring professional bond between Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson does not rely on sensationalism, it is defined instead by endurance. By the ability to continue working together with grace even after the spotlight intensifies scrutiny. Endurance is a testament to character, it reveals resilience, adaptability, and a commitment to craft that transcends personal discomfort. There is also an element of shared experience that binds collaborators in ways outsiders cannot fully comprehend. They navigated global attention together, faced criticism together, and celebrated successes together. These shared moments created a silent understanding and awareness that both had walked through the same storms and emerged with perspective rather than bitterness. Such understanding does not require frequent conversation, it exists in mutual acknowledgement, in the subtle recognition of what each has endured. It is a form of companionship defined not by proximity, but by empathy. In many ways, their connection illustrates a broader truth about artistic partnerships. The most powerful bonds are not always the most visible, they are the ones that allow individuals to coexist creatively without diminishing each other's presence. They are the ones where laughter feels natural, where silence feels comfortable, and where collaboration feels like a shared journey rather than a forced alliance. Jamie and Dakota's professional relationship seems to embody this principle. It is less about grand gestures and more about steady reliability, less about public narratives and more about private assurance. Admiration, when genuine, is rarely loud. It does not need to echo across social media or dominate interviews. It reveals itself through attentive listening, through recognition of effort, through the willingness to share credit. Both actors consistently acknowledge the teamwork involved in their performances, highlighting not only each other but also the crew and creative teams behind the scenes. This humility reinforced the authenticity of their respect. It showed that their admiration was rooted in an appreciation for collective effort rather than individual glory. Over time, as their collaboration became part of cinematic history, what remained most striking was not controversy or speculation, but the calm professionalism they maintained. Their bond did not demand explanation because it did not rely on mystery. It was simple, grounded, and human. Two artists meeting at a crossroads in their careers, learning from each other and moving forward with gratitude rather than resentment. In an industry often driven by fleeting alliances, such steadiness is rare. Beyond words is perhaps the most fitting description because their connection was never dependent on elaborate statements. It was built through shared hours of rehearsal, through emotional endurance, through respect for boundaries, and through recognition of each other's artistry. It was expressed in the spaces where cameras were not rolling and microphones were not recording. It was expressed in the quiet acknowledgement that each had contributed to the other's growth, even if that growth was never publicly quantified. In the end, what makes their mutual respect compelling is its authenticity. It feels unmanufactured, untouched by the need for validation. It reminds audiences that professional admiration can be powerful without becoming personal spectacle. It shows that two individuals can collaborate intensely without losing individuality, can share emotional narratives without blurring personal lines, and can leave a lasting impression not through drama, but through dignity. Their story is not one of grand romance or rivalry, it is a story of artistic partnership of two performers who understood the weight of their roles and chose to carry that weight together with grace. It is a reminder that sometimes the most meaningful connections are the ones that do not demand attention, the ones that exist quietly, yet endure, beyond scripts and spotlights. Beyond interviews and speculation, their mutual respect stands as a testament to the strength of unspoken understanding, the kind that does not fade with time because it was never built on noise, but on sincerity.